So I'm refusing to attend my father's announcement. It's a big family announcement. He's throwing a barbecue for it. But I absolutely refuse to go because it's simple. My father replaced me. He says I'm not manly enough, that I just sit in front of a computer all day and don't do what men are supposed to do. So here's the weirdest part about it. He met some other kid my age named Marcus, or Marquise, or whatever he said it was. And he's basically trying to adopt him because, well, he's a real boy. Whatever the heck that means. He likes to work on cars, he likes to throw the football, and I don't do any of that. So, personally, I just think it's very, very strange that he would do something like that. But then, my mother texts me something about traditional masculinity. I'm like, what's going on? And then my mom says something that just blows my mind. You know what? Let me start at the beginning because this one is crazy. I'm 24 and male. I don't even know where to start. My father, John, has always been, let's call it traditionally masculine. The kind of guy who thinks emotions are weakness and that real men fix trucks and hunt deer and never ever cry. Growing up, I was more into academics. Art, computer stuff, not exactly his idea of mainly, man stuff. I got straight A's through high school, made it into decent colleges, and have a solid job now in graphic design. But I could never shake the feeling that I was a constant disappointment to him. Every achievement I had was met with a dry nod. Meanwhile, he'd see some guy on a hunting show or meet someone at work who could rebuild an engine. And he would spend dinner talking about real men who, quote, know how to use their hands. I just learned to live with it. My mom, Valerie, would give me these sympathetic looks from across the table, but never really said anything about it. It was just how Dad was. So about 8 months ago, I noticed Dad spending a lot of time at the community recreation field near our home. He would go there after work on weekends, sometimes for hours, and when I asked about it, he would just shrug and say he was staying active. Fine, whatever. Dad's always been weird about his routines. Then he started talking about this kid at the field, and at first it was casual. There's a teenager who actually knows how to throw a decent spiral. Or met a young guy who's learning carpentry. Actually listens when you teach him something. I would just nod along, not thinking much of it, and Dad's always been the type to compare me to other people's kids. Well, but then it got different. At dinner one night, Dad spent 15 minutes talking about how this kid Marquise, I eventually learned, helped him fix a fence at the rec field. The way Dad's eyes lit up when he talked about him, I've never seen that before. Not when I got accepted to college, not when I landed my first job, not ever. This boy has real potential. Hunger, drive, the kind of work ethic your generation does not understand, Terry. Mom's fork paused halfway to her mouth. I felt my stomach start to twist. But I just nodded and changed the subject anyways. Oh, well. A few weeks later, I walked into our garage looking for my old baseball glove. I was going to a company softball thing, and it wasn't on the shelf when I'd kept it there for years. Dad, have you seen my glove? He didn't even look up from the workbench. He said he loaned it to someone who actually appreciates it. That's exactly what he said. Somebody who appreciates it. Like I was just some ungrateful kid who would let it collect dust. Never mind that it was my glove and from my childhood. I let it go. I shouldn't have, but you know what? I did. So, the real gut punch, it came about a month later when I stopped by the house absolutely unannounced. I walked in and found this kid, Marquise, sitting at our kitchen table with Dad, both of them laughing over some story. The kid was wearing my old high school hoodie, my hoodie, the one with my name printed on the back from the academic decathlon team. Hey, T-Bone. That's what the kid said when he saw me. I froze. T-Bone? That was my childhood nickname. The only one that Dad used back when I was 7 years old, before he decided I wasn't masculine enough to deserve nicknames anymore. Dad beamed at this kid like he just introduced me to royalty. Terry, this is Marquise, the one I've been telling you about. Marquise, this is my son. The way he said my son felt like an absolute afterthought. Marquise shook my hand with his confident grip and started telling me about all that stuff my dad had given him. Tools from the garage, some of Dad's old work clothes, rides to job interviews. He said it so casually, like it was completely normal that my father was giving away my childhood belongings to a stranger. I stood there smiling and nodding, but inside I felt like I was watching my life from outside my body. That was 3 months ago. Since then, it's gotten so much worse. Dad started inviting Marquise to family events, our annual summer barbecue. Marquise was there, uninvited by one except Dad. Dad introduced him to my Aunt Sarah and Tricia and my Uncle Harry, all the cousins as his prodigy. Everyone laughed it off, but I watched my dad hover over this kid like a proud coach, correcting his posture and patting his shoulder and beaming with pride I've never earned. So, at dinner, Marquise sat in my usual seat. Dad did not correct him. Then, in front of my entire extended family, Dad said, Terry could learn a lot from Marquise here. Kid actually knows how to work with his hands. Doesn't spend all day staring at a computer screen. My Aunt Sarah laughed nervously and Uncle Harry looked at his plate. Mom's hands tightened around her wine glass. So, Marquise started telling stories about things he and Dad do together. Fishing trips, fixing up old furniture, going to hardware stores and talking shop. Things I was never really invited to. Things Dad never wanted to do with me. This boy has hunger. Drive. Reminds me of myself at that age. I went to the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror for 10 minutes trying not to scream. A few weeks ago, I was looking for a specific drill bit in Dad's workshop and found a framed photo of Marquise on the workbench. Professional looking, like a senior portrait. Right there in Dad's private space, there has never been a framed photo of me anywhere in the workshop. Mom pulled me aside that night. She says, your father is getting really attached. I've tried talking to him, but he just says that I'm being dramatic. Attached? Mom, he's treating this random kid weird. She says, I know, sweetie. I don't know what to do. So last week, I found out Dad's been paying Marquise's phone bill and his gas, and he gave him $800 for rent. When I asked Dad about it gently, I swear it was gently, he exploded. Like, absolutely. He says, you're jealous of a young man who actually puts effort, who doesn't coast through life pushing pixels around on a screen. Maybe if you showed half his gratitude. Well, he stopped himself, but I heard what he didn't say. 3 days ago, Dad gave Marquise his old truck. 1987 Ford pickup that Dad had promised me for years. When you're ready for it, he would say. When you've earned it. I watched through the living room window as Marquise drove away in it, grinning like he won the lottery. Dad saw me watching. He says, he won't squander it like you would have. That boy won't make the same mistakes that you did. I haven't been back to the house since. This morning, I got a group text from Dad to me, Mom, and several relatives. It was a photo of Marquise holding some sort of tool covered in grease, giving a thumbs up with the caption that said, grateful for sons who understand the value of hard work. Sons? Plural? So Mom texts me privately. There's a family barbecue this weekend. Your father has a special announcement. Please come. I'm begging. Well, I told her I'm not going. I can't do this anymore. I can't watch my dad parade around this replacement son while I'm sitting right here invisible. But now my whole family is calling me dramatic, saying I'm making everything about me, that I should be happy Dad has found someone to mentor. Uncle Harry said I'm being selfish for not supporting Dad's community involvement. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to go? For being hurt that my dad has essentially replaced me with, well, a teenager he met at the park? Is that not weird? Update number 1 posted 4 days later. Holy crap. I was not expecting this to blow up. Thank you to everyone who validated that this is insane. So, no, I didn't go to the barbecue. I turned off my phone for the entire weekend and stayed at my apartment, trying to ignore this existential dread. When I finally checked my messages Sunday night, I had a lot of unread text. Most were from relatives calling me selfish and ungrateful and, quote, too sensitive, telling me I abandoned my own father on an important day. Aunt Tricia sent me a long voice memo about how my generation doesn't understand mentorship and how I should be grateful. Dad is helping a young man in need. But it was the photos that broke me. Uncle Harry had posted a bunch of pictures in the family group chat. Dad standing in the backyard with his arm around Marquise, the two of them manning the grill. Marquise wearing a shirt that said John's Boy and iron-on letters, everyone laughing, eating, and celebrating. Oh, and in one photo, man, Dad is standing at the head of the table, Marquise right next to him, and Dad's giving his speech. Someone had recorded a video, and I watched it 4 times before I had to put my phone down. I've been thinking about a lot of family lately. About what it means to pass on your values, your knowledge, your legacy. Biology is one thing, but character? Work ethic, respect, those are chosen, and I'm proud to say I found someone who embodies everything I hope to pass on. He puts his hand on Marquise's shoulder. Marquise is looking down, doing this humble aw shucks routine. So today, I want to make an announcement. I've decided to formally mentor Marquise, but more than that, I'm going to start the legal proceedings to become his official guardian. His home situation is absolutely unstable, and this young man deserves a real father figure. Someone who can, guide him into manhood the right way. The video shows relatives clapping. Mom is off to the side, and I can just see her face. She looks absolutely devastated, but she is clapping too weakly. So, at this point, Dad starts to continue. He says something like, family is not just blood, it's chosen. I choose to build my legacy with someone who's actually hungry for it. Marquise looked up at the camera and smiles. It's not really like a warm smile, it's something I would call triumphant. I threw up. I literally threw up in the kitchen sink, and Mom, she called me an hour later crying. She said, I tried to stop him. I told him that this is too far and that he was hurting you, but he said that you've made your choice by not being here. He said if you cared, you would have simply come. He's adopting him, Mom. He's adopting him. She said, I know, baby, I know. He's been talking about it for weeks. He thinks Marquise needs stability, and he's convincing himself that this is about helping a kid in need. But Terry, the way he talks about it, She couldn't really finish. What does he say? That you're soft, that you wasted your potential, that he failed as a father because he coddled you. He says Marquise is his second chance at life. A second chance? I'm 24 years old. I'm not dead. I'm not a failure. I have a job. I have an apartment, a life, but I'm, my father's do-over? I told my mother I need space, and she understood. Yesterday, I went to work and just tried to act normal. Around 2 p.m., my coworker told me someone was in the parking lot asking for me. I looked out the window and saw my father's car. Dad was leaned against it, and Marquise was there too, sitting in my old truck. They waited an hour. Dad kept looking up at the building, and Marquise was on his phone, smirking. I obviously did not go out. I stayed there until they left. And at this point, Dad left a voicemail. It was, real mature, Terry. Can't even face me like a man. This is exactly what I'm doing. Why I have Marquise. He understands respect. You've just proven that you never, ever will. The first message after I was removed from Dad's posting of a photo of him and Marquise on a fishing trip said, quality time with my boy. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm disappearing, like I'm being erased from my own family and everyone is just letting it happen. Telling me that I'm overreacting, that I should be happy for Dad. My phone, it rang an hour ago. It was from Aunt Sarah. She told me in the gentlest, most condescending voice that I need to make peace with this before it gets to be too late. Make peace with what? With being replaced? Don't be dramatic. Your dad is helping a troubled kid. You're making this about you when it's really about charity. I hung up the phone at that point. I don't know what the next move is. Part of me just wants to go ahead and cut everyone off. Part of me does indeed think that I'm overreacting, that I'm simply being selfish, just like they all say. Maybe I am the a-hole. Maybe I should be happy. Dad found someone who makes him proud, even if it's not me. But I can't really shake the image of Marquise in that video, smiling at the camera while my dad calls him his legacy. I'll update if anything else happens, but right now I'm just, I'm feeling down in the dumps. Update number 2. It's been about a week. Hey guys, it's me. I don't know, who's really following this anymore, but I need to write this down because I do feel like I'm losing my mind. So last night, Mom called me, and yes, she was crying. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her at first. He did it. He actually did it. Dad went to a lawyer. He's filing for legal guardianship of Marquise. It's not like a full-on adoption. No, nothing like that. But it's weird. Marquise is almost 18, but Dad is establishing himself as Marquise's official guardian and has already added him to his will. Marquise is moving into my childhood bedroom. My stuff, everything I left there, photos, albums, old trophies, books have been moved to the basement. Mom found out because Dad told her over breakfast like it was absolutely no big deal. The paperwork's filed, he'll be official family soon. I expect you to treat him accordingly. What about Terry? Mom asked him. According to her, Dad just shrugged. Said Terry made his decision when he chose to disrespect the family. I'm done waiting for him to grow up. Mom told me she's thinking about leaving him. She said she doesn't recognize the man that she's married anymore. That this obsession with Marquise has poisoned everything, but she's scared. Financially, emotionally, all of it. I told her I would support whatever she decided, but honestly, I'm barely holding myself together. At this point, the family group chat has been blowing up with photos. Marquise sitting at the dinner table in my seat. Marquise wearing Dad's old varsity jacket. Marquise and Dad working on the car in the garage, and every single photo is captioned with something pointed. Real bonding time, teaching him what matters. It's so weird. Yesterday, Marquise posted on his Instagram. Yeah, I looked. I know I shouldn't have, but it was a photo of him and Dad. The caption said, finally found a real father. Blood doesn't make family, respect does. He tagged my dad, and Dad reposted it on Facebook with a heart emoji. I'm getting texts from relatives I haven't heard from in years. All of them with the same message. I'm being cruel, I'm jealous, I need to let Dad be happy. I should apologize for abandoning the family. No one is asking me if I'm okay. No one is acknowledging that this is crazy. This afternoon, I get a text from an unknown number. It was Marquise. Hey Terry, just wanted to say no hard feelings. Your dad's a good man. He deserves someone who appreciates him. Hope you figure things out. Well, obviously at that point I just blocked the number immediately, but the message is burnt into my brain. An hour ago, Mom sent me a photo. It's from Dad's workshop. He put up a new framed photo. It's 8x10 of him and Marquise standing in front of the truck. Arms around each other, shoulders, both of them smiling. Right below it, there's a small photo of me from high school. It's barely a 4x6 shoved into the corner. The text from Mom just said, I'm so sorry, baby. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Do I go no contact? Do I show up and confront him? Do I let it go and accept that my father has chosen someone else? Like, I don't know, like he's a pet? Everyone keeps saying I'm making this about me, but it is about me. It's about my father erasing me and replacing me with a stranger and everyone acting like I'm the villain for being hurt. You know, I'm not okay. I haven't been okay for months, and I would even go as far and say as the worst part is, I just keep replaying every interactions I've ever had with my dad, trying to figure out what I did wrong, what made me so unlovable, what he would rather build a life with a random kid from a rec field? Maybe I'm just too soft. I don't know. Maybe I'm not a man. Maybe everything he's ever said about me is true. Or maybe my dad is just a narcissist who needs a blank canvas to project his ideal son onto, and I had the audacity to be my own person. I don't have a satisfying conclusion, and I don't have some triumphant, I cut him off and I'm thriving ending. I'm just here, in my apartment, staring at my phone, wondering if my dad will ever notice I'm fully gone. Last night, I drafted a long text to him, told him everything I've been feeling, how much he's hurt me, how cruel this is all, how I just wanted him to be proud of me. I didn't send it. What's the point? He's made his choice. So I guess this is it. My father has a new son, a better son, one who knows how to fix trucks and doesn't ask too many questions and just fits perfectly into the mold that I could never really fill. And I'm just Terry, the disappointment, the rough draft, the one who was not enough. Guys, if you're reading this and you have a dad who actually cares about you, who shows up for you even when you're not perfect, hold on to that. Because I'd give anything to have that just once. I'm done updating. I don't know what happens next, but I can't keep reliving this on the internet. So thank you to everyone who reached out. At least strangers on the internet saw how messed up this is, even if my own family can't. Edit. Mom just texted Dad's planning a welcome to the family party for Marquise next month. She asked if I would come to keep the peace. I feel sick. I'm not going. I think I'm finally done. And you know what? I think that I'm going to cut off my father, not talk to him again, and maybe even my entire family except for my mom. What do you think? Alright guys, let's go ahead and review 2 comments before we talk about it. The first comment says, okay, I'm probably going to get downvoted for this, but somebody needs to give you a reality check because this whole post reeks of entitlement and straight up jealousy. Your father found a kid who genuinely wants to spend time with him and learn from him. And instead of being happy that your father is making a positive impact on a struggling teenager's life, you're throwing a tantrum because you're not getting enough attention? You literally admit that you were never interested in the things your dad valued. You didn't want to work on trucks, you didn't want to go fishing, you didn't want to do any of the hands-on stuff that he tried to share with you. So, he found somebody who does appreciate these things, and now you're mad? That's like just refusing to eat your vegetables and then crying when your parents give them to someone else. The hoodie, the baseball glove, the truck you were promised. Dude, you're 24 years old with your own apartment and job. Why do you need your dad's old truck or a childhood baseball glove gathering dust? This kid apparently comes from an unstable home situation, and your dad is trying to help him, which is actually incredibly generous and kind, but you've made it all about you. You stopped visiting, you refused to come to any family events, you literally hid in the office instead of talking to your father like an adult. Oh, and then you wonder why he's so frustrated with you. Your whole family is telling you that you overreacted. Your mom is asking you to keep the peace and you're still convinced everyone else is wrong and you're the victim? Maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't your dad is replacing you, but that you never actually tried to build a relationship with him in the first place, on his terms. And now you're jealous that someone else did. Grow up, Terry. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Hardly anybody was agreeing with this comment when I was reading through it, but there were people that supported parts of it. Anyways, comment 2 is a lot more likable in the comment section. Everybody was liking this one and agreeing with it. It says, this is seriously disturbing. One of the most disturbing things I've ever read, and I'm genuinely horrified that people are defending your father's psychotic behavior. What your dad is doing is not mentorship. It's not charity. It isn't helping a struggling teen. It's emotional abuse and parental alienation wrapped in toxic masculinity. He was erasing you from your own family, giving away your personal belongings without permission, and publicly humiliating you in front of relatives, and is now literally legally replacing you with a stranger, while everyone applauds him for it. The fact that he's calling this teenager by your childhood nickname, giving him your grandfather's heirloom watch, putting him in your seat at the table, and referring to him as the son I should have had, is not normal dad behavior. It's cruel, calculated, and designed to hurt you. This is not about being too sensitive or not masculine enough. This is about your father being a narcissistic monster who punished his own child for not being a carbon copy of his ideals. Oh, and Marquise. Don't get me started. That kid knows exactly what's going on. The smug smile, the pointed Instagram post, the text messages saying no hard feelings. He's not some innocent charity case. He's actively participating in your erasure and enjoying it. Your entire family is enabling this about absolutely being disgusting. They're watching your father emotionally abuse you in real time and telling you to apologize for having feelings about it. The people saying you're making it about you are out of their minds. It is about you because you are the one being replaced, gaslit, and discarded like yesterday's trash. You need to go full no contact right away. Not just with your dad, but with every single family member who has sided with this insanity, because they've shown you exactly how little you matter to them. Please consider therapy to process this, because what you're experiencing is a profound betrayal that will take years to unpack. Your father doesn't deserve you. Your family doesn't deserve you. And I hope you find peace far away from all of these toxic people. Guys, Let's talk about this story. To me, it was just super weird that he was replacing OP, and it just seemed, I don't know, super weird. I don't know a better way to describe it. Let me know your thoughts about it. Do you agree with OP? Do you agree with the father? Let's drop it down below in our comment section. Guys, as always, I try to drop multiple stories a day, so try to subscribe to the channel if you like these types of stories. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, and of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.